Welcome to the Red Story, and just subscribe so I understand that everything is not in vain. Make some tea or coffee and listen to our new story. Seattle, Washington. Alex Thompson stood at the kitchen counter, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. He glanced at the clock. 7:30 a.m. Emily should have been up by now. They had planned to have breakfast together before she headed to her new job at the marketing firm downtown. Your coffee's getting cold, he called out. Coming, her voice echoed from the bedroom. Emily appeared moments later, her blonde hair pulled back into a neat ponytail, her blue eyes brighter than usual. She wore a new blouse Alex hadn't seen before, a crisp white fabric that contrasted with her tan complexion. Don't you look sharp? He smiled, handing her the mug. She took it, their fingers brushing briefly. First client meeting today. Gotta make a good impression. You'll knock him dead, he assured her. They sat down at the small kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the window. The sounds of the city waking up drifted in, a distant siren, the hum of traffic, the chirping of birds braving the urban landscape. Any plans after work? Alex asked casually. Emily hesitated for a fraction of a second. Oh, some of the team might grab drinks. Networking, you know? Sounds fun. Don't stay out too late, he teased. We still have that movie marathon planned. Would miss it, she smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. 6 months ago, Emily had landed her dream job at one of Seattle's top marketing firms. Alex had been her biggest supporter, celebrating her achievements every step of the way. They'd been together for over 10 years and engaged for 4, high school sweethearts who weathered every storm. But lately, Alex sensed a shift. Emily was distant, often preoccupied. She began staying out later, work events, she claimed, and sometimes didn't come home at all, saying she crashed at her sister Sarah's place to avoid the long commute after a late night. One evening, as Alex was tidying up the living room, his phone buzzed. Hey man, haven't seen you at the gym lately, his friend Jake texted. Been busy. Might swing by tomorrow, Alex replied. He glanced at the framed photo on the shelf, him and Emily at Cannon Beach, arms wrapped around each other, the ocean stretching endlessly behind them. It was their favorite getaway spot, a place filled with memories. His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of keys jingling at the door. Hey, Emily entered, her cheeks flushed. Hey yourself, Alex greeted. How was work? Long day, she sighed, kicking off her heels. Think I'll head to bed early. Everything okay? He asked, concern creeping into his voice. Just tired, she gave a weak smile. Client meetings are draining. He watched her retreat to the bedroom, a knot forming in his stomach. A few weeks later, Emily mentioned a weekend beach trip with her new co-workers. We're heading to Ocean Shores for a team-building retreat, she explained over dinner. Sounds exciting. Alex tried to sound enthusiastic. Maybe we could plan our own trip soon. Definitely, she nodded, but quickly changed the subject. Pass the salt. As the weekend approached, Alex helped her pack. Don't forget sunscreen, he reminded her, tossing a bottle into her bag. Thanks, Mom, she joked, pecking him on the cheek. Very funny, he chuckled. Have fun. Call me if you need anything. The weekend was eerily quiet. Alex busied himself with chores, caught up with friends, and even attempted to cook a new recipe, which ended disastrously. He texted Emily a few times but received short, delayed responses. On Sunday evening, she returned home. How was the retreat? He asked. Productive, she replied curtly. I'm exhausted. Mind if we catch up tomorrow? Sure, he said softly, watching her disappear into the bedroom once again. That night, Alex lay awake, doubts gnawing at him. Something was wrong. 2 days later, as they were finishing dinner, Emily cleared her throat. Alex, we need to talk. He felt a chill. Okay. I think we should take a break, she said, avoiding his gaze. What? Where is this coming from? I need space to figure things out. Is there someone else? They met at a quiet cafe, the aroma of coffee failing to mask the tension between them. I'm sorry about everything, she began. I want to try and work things out. Relief washed over him. Me too, whatever it takes. They decided to attend couples counseling, and for a while, things seemed to improve. Emily moved back in, and they began rebuilding their life together. One evening, Emily came home with a smile. Guess what? She beamed. What? I'm pregnant. Alex felt a surge of joy. That's amazing. He lifted her into a hug, spinning her around. They had been trying for a baby for a while, and this was the news he'd been hoping for. They spent the next few days in a whirlwind of excitement, doctor appointments, nursery plans, name discussions. But amidst the happiness, Alex couldn't shake the lingering doubts. The timelines didn't add up in his head. Something felt off. One night, as they were getting ready for bed, he broached the subject. Emily, would you be okay if we did a paternity test? She froze. Why would you ask that? I don't know, he stammered. Just, with everything that happened, I think it might help put my mind at ease. Her eyes filled with tears. I can't believe you question me like this. It's not that I don't trust you. He tried to soothe her. No, she interrupted. If you love me, you wouldn't need a test. She stormed out of the bedroom, leaving Alex feeling worse than before. The next morning, Emily was distant. About last night, Alex began. She held up a hand. We need to talk. He braced himself. I've been hiding something, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I cheated on you. The words hung in the air, each one a dagger to his heart. During the beach trip, she continued, I met someone, Mark. It happened, and I'm so sorry. He felt numb. Is the baby his? She nodded slowly. I think so. Alex stood up, pacing the room. How could you do this? I don't have an excuse, she sobbed. I was confused, and things between us weren't great, but it was a mistake. A mistake, he echoed. You lied to me. You made me think we were rebuilding, and all along. I'm sorry, she repeated. He grabbed his keys. I need to get out of here. Please don't go, she pleaded. We can work through this. He shook his head, tears welling up. I don't see how. Alex moved back in with his parents, his world shattered. Days blended together as he tried to process the betrayal. Emily reached out multiple times, but he ignored her calls and messages. One afternoon, she showed up at his parents' house. Alex, please talk to me, she begged at the doorstep. He stepped outside, closing the door behind him. What do you want? I scheduled an appointment, she said quietly. For an abortion. I thought you should know. He was taken aback. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want to hide anything anymore. Mark doesn't want the baby. I don't want to do this alone. He sighed, conflicted. Despite everything, he still cared for her. I'll drive you, he offered. The drive to the clinic was silent, tension filling the space between them. After the procedure, he brought her back to their apartment. Thank you, she murmured as they reached the door. He nodded, unsure of what to say. Can we talk inside, she asked. He hesitated but agreed. They sat on opposite ends of the couch. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, she began, but I want to try to make things right. Emily, he said softly, I need time. You broke my trust in the worst possible way. I understand, she whispered. They sat in silence, the weight of unspoken words heavy between them. Over the next few weeks, Alex focused on moving forward. He arranged to collect his belongings from the apartment, coordinating times when Emily wouldn't be there. As he packed up his life, he stumbled upon a hidden stash of letters in Emily's nightstand. Curiosity got the better of him. The letters detailed her affair with Mark, their plans to run away together, her doubts about staying with Alex, and ultimately, Mark's rejection when he learned about the pregnancy. Anger flared within him. Not only had she betrayed him, but she had considered leaving him entirely without a word. He left the apartment, leaving his key on the counter. Back at his parents' house, Alex decided it was time to sever all ties. He blocked her number, deleted photos, and removed any trace of her from his life. One evening, Jake stopped by. Thought you could use some company, he said, handing Alex a six-pack. Thanks. Alex managed a weak smile. They sat on the porch, watching the sunset. Remember that time we got lost hiking in the Cascades? Jake reminisced. Alex chuckled. How could I forget? We thought we were bare food. They shared stories, laughter easing the tension. You're going to get through this, Jake assured him. I know, Alex nodded. It's just going to take time. Months passed. Alex threw himself into work and rediscovered old hobbies, hiking, photography, playing guitar. He reconnected with friends he'd lost touch with and even started volunteering at a local animal shelter. One day, while grabbing coffee at his favorite cafe, he bumped into a woman as he turned from the counter. Sorry, they both said in unison. They laughed, and he looked up to meet her eyes, a warm hazel that crinkled at the corners when she smiled. I'm Lily, she introduced herself. Alex, he replied, smiling back. They chatted for a while, discovering shared interests and a mutual love for the outdoors. Maybe I'll see you on the trail sometime, she suggested. Looking forward to it, he grinned. That evening, Alex felt lighter than he had in a long time. As he sat on his balcony, guitar in hand, he strummed a familiar tune, the notes floating into the night sky. His phone buzzed, a message from Emily. I heard about the volunteering. I'm glad you're doing well. Take care. He stared at the message for a moment before deleting it. Looking out at the city lights, he took a deep breath. The future was uncertain, but he was ready to embrace it. Here's to new beginnings, he whispered to himself. He picked up his guitar and began to play, the melody carrying him forward into the promise of tomorrow. End of story.